Hello, my crypto bit brothers and sisters. How in the world are you? Here I am with Papa Ron, and we have been discussing the market cap and looking at it. And he's got CoinLib up, and I have, what do I got? A market cap, I guess, up. Hey, and we've been looking at Bitcoin, even though it's down 0.06%, it's still 93, $9,311. That's pretty freaking good for, like it was 91 the other day. Now it's 93, so it keeps going up. It may vary a little bit as it goes up and down, right? And that brings up a question, Ron.
What's that?
If you is it better to invest in the top 5 or 10 coins and hold them, or is it better to go to the penny stuff? You know, we have some penny stuff, but we've been talking about evaluating if it goes up to past, because we paid more for what it's worth now. It's gone way down.
Some of them have dropped, but yet they're rebounding, and we're pretty back to where we should be on most of our picks. Yeah. I think just a couple of them. But what we were discussing earlier, folks, is we were talking about, if you look at the market cap, and Rod made the comment that Cardano, ADA, is above Litecoin now, and of course we know how the market cap works. What they do is they just take the amount of coins that are in circulation and they times that by the last price, and that gives you the market cap. So if somebody ends up paying a nickel more for ADA on the last purchase, all them coins are going to go up and reflect that. So, matter of fact, here's the market cap, and you can kind of see, here's Cardano here and Litecoin. And I know most of you know this, so we'll just be another 5 seconds and we'll move on. Cardano's got 25 billion coins in circulation, where Litecoin only has 56 million. Of course, then you times that by the last price, and that's why ADA has moved above Litecoin. So we got talking about, some of these coins that are still relatively inexpensive to buy, and like ADA is only 34 cents, 35 cents about. And if you're converted, which kind of our video the other day was on, once you get that conversion of a certain platform or where it's headed, and, buy into that. But we got talking about, it depends. Rod, what coin were we just talking about? And I said, yeah, if you put in like $10,000.
No, we were talking about Cardano.
Was it ADA?
Yeah.
So folks, to put a couple $100 into a 35-cent coin, and I'm not begrudging anybody. You got to do what you got to do. But we were just kind of talking about, if you're going to put a couple $100 in, why not stick with the safe coins, the ones that are leading the industry forward, which are your top few coins, Bitcoin and Litecoin, and of course ADA is up there and EOS is up there. But if you buy
cash,
yeah. So I guess my point was, I would rather have that $200 into Bitcoin than rolling the dice on ADA with 25 billion coins out there.
Even though ADA seems pretty good, a pretty good platform, we talked about it. It's a good thing. So is EOS. But Bitcoin, and what's nice about buying any of these coins, but especially Bitcoin, it's $9,300. Freak, I ain't got $9,300 to put towards Bitcoin, or at least I don't want to put $93 Bitcoin. But you can buy just a chunk of it, just a section of it, and if you keep buying, it'll keep going up. But and then that brought up another point we talked about. What was that? It was how much do you really put into the top coins? You know, do you put 60% into Bitcoin, and with the other 40% or 30% you have in your portfolio, go buy something else and see if it goes up and use it for your speculation, right?
Yeah, I think it's all an individual preference on what you do, and I don't know if there's a set criteria of investment how that should work.
I mean, don't either.
You know, we started talking a couple months ago that we wanted to get more back into the safer coins and get out of some of these ones that they're good platforms and they'll have a use, but I'm not sure I personally want to keep rolling the dice on that. I want to get more like 80% of my portfolio into the top coins. And so it's all a personal preference. I don't know if there's a magic number on it, Rod, or anything.
Well, you know, that's why you'll never see, for me, for personally, you'll never see like coins like Ripple or ADA that have in the billions of circulating supply. You'll never see them get real high. Not like Bitcoin, only 17 million, and Bitcoin Cash has only got 17 million. Well, Litecoin only got 56 million. Those the ones that have the least amount of coins people want because they're popular, so the price goes up. That's why Bitcoin's up so high.
No, I think there's something to what you're saying. Yeah, it goes back to the supply and demand kind of, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
So, you know, the fewer coins available, even though there's partials of each of those, or the higher it gets. But as more people come into the industry, Rod, and people naturally they want to get whole coins, whole tokens, and so they automatically start looking at some of these less expensive coins. I think Litecoin, you know, you can buy a whole one of those for 150 schmacks right now. Yeah. I think that's attractive to new people coming in. And not that that's a bad purchase. I'm just saying, so it's all relative, I guess. And the more people that come into this market and industry, it's gonna take a lot of them up.
Oh yeah.
Especially if you're, you know, I think at first we were trying to say if you're in the top 50, you're probably pretty safe. And God, maybe I'd even narrow it down to the top 20 or 25. I mean,
yeah.
And do your research, folks. You know, we're not the gurus of all this stuff. We're just giving you our personal opinions and what we're thinking. But we kind of want to talk today about this new fork from Bitcoin.
Wow,
another one. And it's called Bitcoin Anonymous. And then you say, well, wait a minute. Didn't we just have Bitcoin Private that forked back at the end of February? And yes, we did. And you're saying, so you think, well, Anonymous Bitcoin and Bitcoin Private, it kind of seems kind of the same deal. And they are also forking off a Z Classic, which Bitcoin Private also did. And I think the reason they did that was relatively because they have that Schnarks coding or software that makes it become anonymous. And I guess how that works is every time you are a sender of a coin or token and a receiver, those addresses change every time. That's what that Schnarks does to keep it anonymous. I think that's what it's called. SNARKES or S. I think that's the software they developed.
Schnarks.
but it's proven to be really effective, and that's why both these companies have wanted to fork off of Z Classic and Bitcoin at the same time. And I think Anonymous Bitcoin is not forking till September on the 10th. Yeah, it's a ways out. And then you're wondering, well, what are you bringing me this news for?
Why are they, Ron?
Yeah, and there is a reason. But September 10th, they're going to do a snapshot of all the Bitcoin and Z Classic coins, tokens. And you'll get a matching 1-for-1 on both of those platforms.
Oh, wow.
On this, yeah. So, and that's kind of the reason why we're kind of talking about this early, Rod. If we go over to, let's look at Bitcoin Private. I got that up here. Okay. Let me scroll that up a little bit. And you can see when they came in, I guess it was right at the end of February. Price went up, and it's kind of mellowed out again. But boy, look at the volume again that started to come in the last couple weeks on Bitcoin Private. Of course, everything has gone up. I realize that, but Bitcoin Private has got some things going on there. But now here's Z Classic, and you can kind of see at the end of February, right in here, is where it started building again. People were buying Z Classic because they would get a matching coin of Bitcoin Private. Yeah. And then, boy, look at that drop right after that.
But it's going back up again.
And now if you look at the end here, it's starting to build again because I think people are getting into that to maybe collect on some of these anonymous Bitcoins. And folks, this is why we're bringing it to you early, because they're $22 right now. And so if you're looking at maybe getting a matching coin from this anonymous Bitcoin, look how the price went up. I mean, it was almost what? Went up to almost $200 prior to the fork of Bitcoin Private.
And then dropped to $222. Wow.
Yeah, so I don't know. Here's the difference, though, folks. They're both using snarks. They're both going to focus on being anonymous and privacy and all that. But this anonymous Bitcoin just had their website go live last night.
Oh.
So it's, and one of the big things that they're doing is that they are going to have master nodes in anonymous Bitcoin, and you'll be able to stake those coins. And we've talked about proof of stake several times, and it kind of keeps their whole blockchain secure and safe and all that. So it's a proof of stake deal. They haven't announced yet how many coins you'll need to become a master node. But it actually keeps people interested in the community, Rod, because they've got a stake in it. Let's say it's 250 coins you need to become a master node, or 500, or whatever it's going to be. You're actually got a vested interest within that whole platform, and then they will reward you daily. Most of them reward daily on having that master node. And if you can buy those coins or tokens right now at $22, I mean, they haven't announced how many you'll need yet, but that will be a substantial difference. One thing I found interesting in this, and of course, here's a vision, folks. We'll put the link to their website in the description box. But another thing they're claiming, Rod, is that they are going to be on some major exchanges prior to that snapshot. And this is one thing that they've kind of said about Bitcoin Private, is that there was kind of some confusion at first, and they were kind of slow to get things going, and they really weren't in a lot of major exchanges. And I still don't think Bitcoin Private, and I'm not trying to offend anybody into Bitcoin Private.
No.
Everybody, they get their little personal coins or tokens, their platforms that they love, and man, if you say anything negative about it, they get, everything's all bent out of shape. And
so chill out.
It's
we're just giving you information.
Well, but let's look at that. Let's go to Bitcoin Private here.
Okay.
And this is on CoinMarketCap, folks. And if we go to the markets, and really, they were over $80 there. This is Bitcoin Private. They were over $80, and I don't know what they are now. What did it say? 20 something. They're still $35.
$35. $35 is not bad.
I mean, So if you go to markets here, it'll show you what exchanges they're on right now. And it looks like their top one is that Trade Satoshi. Last 24 hours, they've had $600,000 worth of volume. And I'm not familiar with Trade Satoshi. I'm not familiar with this Cystine coin or Octava. I'm not familiar with any of these. Now, I'm not saying that they're not pertinent exchanges. I'm just saying I'm not familiar. Rod, are you?
No, not at all. That's what I was getting ready to say. I've never even seen.
And we haven't used those.
Man.
Point being, what Anonymous Bitcoin is saying is prior to that snapshot, they are going to divulge some major exchanges that they'll be on.
Oh, good.
So, and what I wanted to point out too was in there, they claim to have a real top-notch team. I listened to Jake and Sam both on an interview on CNBC talking about this a little bit, but this guy here, this Steven Nuroff, sorry, Steven, if I mispronounced that, but he's been on some he's been on right down here. His involvement in top projects include Ethereum, Lisk, Bancor, T0, Zencash, Zcash. So he's got quite the portfolio of where he's been affiliated with on some of this stuff. And I think some of these other guys, they're really touting up this team they've got. I can't find anything on Bitcoin Talk about them. So, you know, we're just bringing it to you because...
Well, it just started today, right? You said...
The official announcement of the website started today. You're right.
Yeah.
And they've got 4 months, clear till September, which also to me is a little bit, well, what do you need 4 months for? And I hadn't thought of that all the way through, but it just seems a little ways out. And by then, no telling where Bitcoin Private might be with their platform and everything they're trying to execute and get going also.
Yeah.
So anyway, folks, like I said, the reason we brought it to you is because Z Classic is relatively inexpensive right now. And if you wanted to pick up some of those to get these matching coins, it might be worth looking at.
Yeah. Could be worth looking at. You never know.
Yeah. So other than that, Rod, I hope we talked about what you were discussing at first and covered that about. Yeah,
we did.
Okay.
It's just something that we felt that we needed to bring up about the market cap and about how you shouldn't put all your money in just a one coin. It need to be a little bit of diversity.
I definitely think you do. Yeah, even diversify.
And out of the cryptocurrency, I'd divide into gold or silver. I'd have a little bit of that. I'd have a little bit of food storage. I'd learn how to eat off the land that you live in. I mean, I don't know. That's just me. But I'm old. I can't run, so I just do a little bit at a time.
You sound like a doomsdayer there a little bit.
Well, I'm not a doomsdayer, and I never have been a doomsdayer. You know, in my lifetime, I think I've been through, I think there's five end of the world dates. I haven't worried about one of them. I figured, hey, if it goes, what can I do about it? You know, there's nothing I can do about it. But I want to read you a little quote that I found from Benjamin Franklin. He's one of my favorite forefathers that we have. He says, wine is constant proof that God loves us and loves to see us happy. But I like to change that for a prannerism, and that is beer is constant proof that God loves us and loves to see us happy. Yeah.
Are you a beer drinker?
Lone Star beer, baby. All those in Texas knows what I'm talking about.
Folks, thanks for watching us.
Appreciate it very much. Thumbs up and God bless.